we ended up getting then Kerry King, to fill in.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah,
about
we got
that.
him to fill in.
Did he do like 4 gigs with you, Kerry King?
Yeah, I guess 5 actually. Yeah, because then turn the calendar into 1984. In fact, it was New Year's Eve. We auditioned a few singers, and this one guy was supposed to show up, and he didn't. And out of
Wow.
frustration, Dave just taped a sheet of lyrics for, I don't know, chosen ones or something, right? Put it up on a
Uh-huh.
mic stand, and we played the song, and he stepped up to the mic and sang. And I was the one, I was going, dude, that was fucking killer. And he was like, all out of breath and turned it red like he's going to pass out. He just didn't really know how to sing and breathe and play, I don't think he'd ever done it before, And I said, fucking killer, man. And he goes, really? I said, look, you're writing the lyrics. Like, no one's going to sing this shit as good as you
Yeah.
are, because you have the story. The thing about these Megadeth songs is they were stories, and that really, I learned a lot about that with songwriting, and as I would write lyrics, on upcoming albums and stuff too, is writing for Dave to sing them, because it was almost like Dave was writing not with him singing in mind, right? He was writing a story, and the storyteller was yet to be determined until New Year's Eve of 83, 84. When that singer didn't show up, Dave became the storyteller, So, and he just had the right attitude, he had the
Wow.
right conviction. So, then flip into 84. By February 84 is when we went up to the Bay Area to debut the band. And Kerry had just been up there with Slayer, like just a couple of months before that. So he'd been there with Slayer. The Exodus guys, of course, they were the gatekeepers. They were the ones that welcomed us all,
Yeah.
to the Bay Area, and so they were really great with that, and of course they knew Dave from his Metallica days, before that. So Dave had a lot of friends up there and supporters. We're excited to see what his new post Metallica band is going to be like. So, yeah, Kerry filled in on guitar. I never got the impression he was going to be a full-time member. I mean, I think he probably toyed with the idea a little bit, but I also think from those early days with Megadeth, he enjoyed it, he liked it, but I think he knew quickly, like, okay, Slayer, I can do something with Slayer. Like we've got a shot at something here. So he then, when we came home,
Yeah.
our drummer Lee Rausch left the band. Kerry went back to Slayer, so it was just me and Dave. And then that's when we got Gar in the band. After that, we got introduced to this manager guy, Jay Jones, and then he brought in Gar. And then a couple of months later, he brought Chris in, because Gar and Chris, it's kind of like me and Dave were.
They were working
It was about
together,
bringing
right?
the two teams together,
Excuse me. Yeah. Yeah, that's what's so cool because you and Dave, like you guys were living above each other, right? That's how you guys
That's
met,
how we
if I'm
met.
not
Yep, that's how we
mistaken.
met.
You and
Yep,
Dave.
on Sycamore Meat.
Yeah. And then those two were doing music already together,
Yeah,
right?
Gar and
They've
Chris
been
grew up in
working.
Dunkirk, New York, so up by Buffalo, New York, and so they'd moved to L.A. a few years
Mhm.
earlier. They were, they grew up on everything from Mahavishnu Orchestra and this, Return to Forever, this kind of progressive jazz fusion stuff. And Gar always cited Billy Cobham and Keith Moon as his influences, right? So, which is cool because Billy
Mhm.
Cobham in that day was he would be like the Mike Portnoy. He was the Neil Peart of the day. He was of like the
Yeah.
'70s or something. Of the kind of very progressive jazz rock. He was like the guy. So. So Gar, but then Gar also, he's just unorthodox. I think one of the things, when Gar, Scope Beneath the Skin's a good example because when it comes to the breakdown after the intro, where he does the floor tom roll, and then he does the fill this way, right? He comes up from the toms. Most people go right? Because if you're playing a beat, probably the
Uh-huh.
closest drum is that first rack tom, right? So to get right. That's how most people kind of musically went from a higher pitch to a lower pitch, like do 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 do, right, do 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 do. So, but Gar, he would come from down below. Nobody did that. I mean, that was just so groundbreaking.
Yeah.
And even like Mechanics, when we played Mechanics, he plays a shuffle under that, it's like Hot for Teacher. It's a shuffle, right? So think Hot for Teacher.
Yeah.
Whereas, obviously I liked the Metallica version from No Life Till Leather, as well as, of course, Four Horsemen, where Lars, plays a, da-da-da-da, 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 plays the riff basically on the drums, which
Yeah,
super
definitely.
cool, but Gar's thing was this shuffle, and I played Ron McGovney's bass line, or at least my interpretation of it. I kind of did my own stuff with it too. I played some of my own fills and licks, but I kind of was more to Ron McGovney's No Life Till Leather version of the bass line, that I played on that.